Hello, it's me, CGD. The time is 19:35 UK time, 13th of the 8th, 2010. I'm going to address these issues one at a time. This first piece I'm going to call psychiatry. It is the belief of HMP Brixton prison officers that they know about psychiatry and how it affects people and what sort of moods they develop, how they feel, how they react to depression, anxiety, stress, what coping mechanisms are available to them, and who they can actually go to in order to get help to alleviate their so-called psychiatric issues. In my case, it's quite unique. Even though I'm diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, it's well documented that I'm not paranoid and I'm not schizophrenic. The reason being is that what I'm actually experiencing is a real life experience. This is an ongoing process, and it has been for a number of years now. So long, in fact, it's almost become like second nature to me, even though officially on the medical report that's just come back from the Secretary of State, it's been diagnosed as only 2 years. But the problem has gone back much longer than that, and the files pertaining to my mental health is being doctored as we speak by the prison officers. They now in a situation of a catch-22 where they're aware, because they saw earlier that document, but they know that this issue goes well before that. As to when they'll say and claim and use in reports is unspecified at the moment. But the issue of the psychiatry behind it is that it's the mental circuitry of the brain. They believe that someone who becomes, say, unwell will suffer some form of breakdown as such. Well, I've never formally been diagnosed as having a breakdown. All I've been diagnosed with is hearing and feeling things, but the experience is real, and the prison officers of HMP Brixton Prison know this, because every time they're on that computers that they use as weapons of mass destruction and death penalties, it's also a very unique, specialised piece of kit in the fact that they have faders and crossfaders and individual satellites that can, one that works internally within the human body, mind, and they have external satellites that they can scan and target, pinpoint, and let's say penetrate. They would like everyone to believe this is in my imagination. It's not. I physically feel pain, and as a result of that, they triggered multiple heart attacks, even though they've been not necessarily recorded. The point of the psychiatry is they want people to believe that you're off your nut, and if you were off your nut and no one believes you, you will take your life in frustration. It's the battle to get well, which is really not true, because you are well. You're in sound mind and sound body. It's the process of what HMP Brixton prison officers use. This form of psychiatry, I think, possibly was developed in the late 60s. The thing they're actually doing the process. It's not new. I've seen similar things, not with the technology, but processes in the Vietnam War, of how the prisoners of war were kept there and what sort of process of abuse they went through. If you look on the internet and go through the various different wars and look at the captives and the torture, it's based on that, and this is the psychiatric part of it. There is also the psychological part of this component, and the psychological part of this component is to paint the perception. They want to paint a picture in your mind and give you visual stimulation based on that psychology. But psychology is not, in a sense, a visual thing. The only time psychology appears in a visual sense is when you have test cards and you go through and you memorise the test cards. That is they usually one of the practices with psychology, as well as the psychology expert going through this with you. It's a bit like how you can retrieve information and what makes sense and what doesn't. and your ability to cope under certain types of situations with the psychology. It's an interesting theory of what HMP Brixton Prison are doing with this type of psychology. They're trying to manipulate me to make it look as if I am the wrongdoer, I am the evil person, and therefore I am of guilty mind and guilty thoughts, and I've incriminated people, and on that basis my life is no longer worth living. So they want other people to kill me on that basis, but it won't work. There's no one in their right mind that's going to kill someone who hasn't done anything to them. But it's the perception of how they use psychology. They're planning on using the public through YouTube. They think they're very clever, these prison officers, but they're not. Now I've dealt with the psychology, let's deal with the pain, because it's the combination of what these satellites can do that inflicts the pain and the suffering and the hypersensitivity, and the combination of the psychiatry, the psychology and the physical pain is what drives you to despair. And if it's the same process that works on me, and it's been tested already, it's confirmed, you wouldn't put in this sort of equipment anywhere and spend billions of pounds unless it was fully tested. These officers have research and data, and they're trying to compare what I'm going through with the research and data that they have. And they're seriously fucked up because I'm not responding to how the research and data says how I should respond. So they're seriously aggravated, and that aggravation leads to stress, tension within them, and therefore they get hyperactive and they start turning up these sensors to force me to kill myself, or to force me to want to kill someone else. Now that's the very simple scenario and crux of it. But in essence, they would like me to force any criminal activity whatsoever, whether it's with my friends, family or anyone, it doesn't matter. They just want me to commit a crime, get me out of the way and kill other people. Thank you.